All right, today we're going to talk about building a toolkit for your mind. It's all about how we can shift from just reacting emotionally to, well, responding with intention. So, let's just dive right in with a pretty direct question. Are your emotions in control, or are they kind of controlling you? I mean, we've all been there, right? That moment where we just snap or feel completely overwhelmed, and later on we're kicking ourselves, wishing we'd handled it differently. So what is actually going on inside our heads at that moment?
Well, the answer is probably going to surprise you. What if I told you that the actual physical lifespan of an emotion, that chemical rush that floods your body, is only 90 seconds? That's it. Just a minute and a half. And look, this isn't just some nice-to-have idea. This is straight-up neuroscience. It's called the 90-second rule, and it comes from the work of Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, a Harvard neuroscientist. Here's how it works. Something triggers you, and your body releases these chemicals that create that physical feeling. The hot face, the tight chest. But here's the kicker. Those chemicals are completely gone, flushed out of your system in about 90 seconds. So what's going on after that minute and a half? Well, You're re-triggering that whole emotional loop with your own thoughts.
A really powerful way to picture this is with a simple metaphor. Think of your emotions like weather systems. They're just temporary. They roll in, and if you let them, they will roll right back out. See, the problem isn't the storm itself. The problem is when we stand out there and try to fight it, instead of just letting it pass.
Okay, so just knowing this, just understanding this concept gives us an incredible amount of power. And that brings us to our very first tool, the foundation of this whole toolkit, actually learning how to use the 90-second emotion rule when you're right in the middle of it.
So, how do you actually do this? It's pretty straightforward. The next time you feel a really strong emotion starting to bubble up, just pause. Don't react. Instead, do this. First, just notice the physical stuff happening in your body. Is your chest tight? Is your face getting hot? Second, don't fight the feeling. Just watch it, like you're a curious scientist. Third, literally start a 90-second countdown in your head. That's it. Just give your body that time it needs to process and flush out that chemical rush. You'll actually feel the physical intensity start to fade.
But let's be real. We all know that feelings can stick around for way longer than 90 seconds, right? And that's because our thoughts get involved. They take over. So what do you do when you're stuck in that mental replay loop? Well, let's move on to our next section, which is all about emotional first aid for when those thoughts just refuse to let go.
This whole problem, it actually has a name. It's called rumination. You know what I'm talking about, that endless, repetitive cycle of negative thoughts. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like mental quicksand. The more you struggle against those thoughts, the deeper and deeper you sink.
Okay, so the key here is not to fight the quicksand, but to grab a rope. You need to redirect your brain's attention. And there's this really powerful technique for that called the 5-3-1 pattern interrupt. You don't argue with the thought, you don't engage it, you just give your brain a new job. So you name 5 things you can see right now. Then you physically move. Seriously, just getting up and going to another room works wonders. Then for 3 minutes, you do something that's just absorbing enough, like counting backward from 100 by 7s. And finally, you take just one tiny productive action. What this does is it literally carves a new path for your mental energy to go down.
All right, so we've got some great tools for what to do in the heat of the moment. But now let's zoom out a bit. Let's talk about getting to the root cause, which is often the stories we're telling ourselves in our own heads. This is all about changing your mental frame proactively. It's about learning to see an opportunity where you used to only see a catastrophe. And this quote right here, it just nails the whole idea. The frame isn't the problem itself. It's the perspective you put around it. And here's the amazing part. That perspective is 100% within your control. This isn't about, toxic positivity or just wishful thinking. It's about accurate thinking that lets you stay in the driver's seat.
Let's make this super practical. Take a look at this example. Imagine you didn't get that promotion you wanted. On one side, you have the catastrophic frame. I'm a failure, I'll never get ahead. See how that's a total dead end? It just shuts everything down. But now look at the other side, the reframed perspective. Okay, this is a setback. What specific feedback can I get to do better next time? It acknowledges the disappointment, but it immediately opens a door to action, to growth. That little mental shift, that's the difference between being stuck and being empowered.
Okay, let's keep building on that idea with another tool that is so simple it's almost silly, but it is profoundly effective. It's all about changing just 1 or 2 words in your head to completely flip your perspective and tap into your own inner coach.
So the magic trick here is all in the pronoun you use. When you say, I am overwhelmed, you're basically fusing your entire identity with that feeling. You are the feeling. But check this out. Research shows that if you just switch to the third person, if you use your own name, you create something called psychological distance. So instead of I'm overwhelmed, you say, Gemini can handle this. It might feel weird at first, but what it does is it activates the exact same rational problem-solving parts of your brain that you would use if you were giving advice to a friend. You literally step outside yourself and become your own coach. It's amazing.
So we've collected a bunch of really useful individual tools. The last piece of the puzzle is to put them all together, to integrate them into a real strategy. I want you to think of this like you're installing a complete operating system update for your brain. And this new OS is designed for one thing: resilience.
So what does this resilience system actually look like? Well, a really solid plan covers 4 key areas. You've got the physiological part, managing your body's response with things like simple breathing exercises. You've got the cognitive part, using that reframing and third-person self-talk we just covered. Then there's the behavioral part, putting tools like the 90-second rule into practice. And finally, and this one is so important, there's the social part, knowing who your support network is and actually reaching out to them.
Because ultimately, the goal here isn't to build a life where nothing bad ever happens. I mean, that's just impossible, right? The real goal is to build up your own capacity to navigate the tough stuff with strength and grace. And this quote just says it all, right? Doesn't it? Resilience isn't about trying to avoid every storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain.
So here's where it gets real. The most important thing is to turn all this information into action. We've gone through a whole set of powerful tools today, everything from just watching an emotion for 90 seconds to designing an entire resilient system. So my question for you is this: which one? Which single tool are you going to practice this week? Just pick one, because that small act of practice is how an intentional response starts to become your new normal.